Namaste, Soul Circle! I'm Steven.
I'm Candace.
And we are from Arcana, Mind, Body, Spirit, located in Toronto, Canada.
Today we are diving into the second energy center, the Sacral Chakra, Svadhisthana. We will be discussing what it governs and asking each other prompts based on where we feel we are at within our sacral space. Things like, are we over or underactive within our sacral chakra? And we will be discussing ways to improve our energetic relationship with this chakra.
So be sure to hit subscribe and that little notification bell, and be sure to not miss any of our other videos this week to really unlock the potential of your sacral. Ready to do the work?
Let's do it. The sacral chakra in its original Sanskrit name is Svadhisthana, which in English translates to where your being is established.
I like that.
A flowing sacral chakra governs our relationship with knowing what we have and what we do is good enough. When not blocked by fear, this energy source can bring about confidence, manifesting your desires and sexuality and creativity.
The most common location for your sacral chakra is about 3 inches below your navel at the center of your lower belly. In the back, it's located in the lumbar vertebrae, and it's associated with your lymphatic and reproductive systems. Other noteworthy locations described in different systems expand its locations to the genital area, especially at the level of the ovaries for women and the testicles for men. Pleasure and a sense of deservingness develops here. Giving yourself enough of all that life has to offer, like fun, rest, food. It's not to be confused with linking what you have or don't have to self-worth, but being grateful and open to receiving these gifts.
The sacral chakra is associated with the color orange. Hello? And its symbol is a flower with 6 petals. Each petal has a Sanskrit letter on it. I might pronounce this wrong, so I apologize. Ba, Baha, Ma, Ya, Ra, and La. In the center of the flower is a silver crescent moon representing the element water. The sacral chakra is associated with feminine energy with the mantra, I feel. Because of this, most manifestation practices will focus on sexuality, intimacy, abundance, joy, and the balance of our relationships with others and ourselves.
The more you learn about the sacral chakra, the more you may come to realize that this chakra for you is either underactive or overactive, if not in balance. So let's discuss exactly what that means and how it shows up in your body, mind, and in your behaviors. Keep in mind that we are not medical doctors or physicians, but it is important to speak to your doctor, therapist, family, and friends if you feel your health physically or mentally need assessing or assistance.
Yes, absolutely. If your sacral chakra is overactive, you might feel an extreme amount of heat naturally in your lower abdomen area, or other symptoms of issues regarding reproductive organs, your bladder or kidneys, lower back pain, UTIs, cysts, or anything you would see your gynecologist about. Feelings of easily being overwhelmed, unmanageable mood swings, exhaustion over time, anxiety, arrogance, aggression, or having weak boundaries with people, possibly displaying dependent or obsessive behaviors in your relationships or other symptoms as well. Another issue that could arise is addiction issues, particularly sex addiction. That may include risky sexual behaviors, as well as detachment issues.
So now, an underactive sacral chakra is caused by a block prohibiting the energy flow, causing you to feel out of control, struggling to cope with the ebbs and flows of life, and change in general. This can cause emotional detachment, a fear of pleasure or desire, fatigue, insecurity, and zero creativity. The same physical symptoms of an overactive sacral are also signs of a blocked or underactive sacral chakra.
So I have a story about my experience with PCOS. I'm not saying that chakra work cured me, but the work that I put in focusing on my sacral chakra really did help me to narrow in on the lifestyle changes and increase the behaviors that did indeed positively impact my reproductive system. It was diet, exercise, sleep was a big one. And these are all parts of the sacral chakra and keeping it healthy and keeping it in flow. And it was a huge improvement for me in regards to the symptoms I was experiencing from PCOS.
When you are in flow state with your sacral chakra, you're going to notice that two things really go hand in hand. Because this governs your creative and your sexuality, you'll find that when you are in flow state sexually, in that sort of creative mode, you'll also find that things come flowing out of you. As a writer, I always know that when I'm feeling embodied and passionate and sexual, it comes out in my creative. And I see that all the time. It keeps reoccurring in my life. I'm sure that a lot of you can resonate with that too. All right, it's time for the question portion.
My favorite time.
Hot seat. Okay.
Great.
So the first section we're going to talk about is your well-being. Okay? So do you give yourself time off from the grind of daily life? And how often in the course of a day do you stop what you are doing and take a break?
I do. Yeah, I say I give myself a break. Sometimes I feel like some of the breaks I'm taking are part of my issues with procrastination, and not maybe in like the healthiest of ways of taking a break. I think it has to do with my procrastination, but I definitely don't have issue with rewarding myself or knowing when I need to call it in. I think right now for me, it might take a little longer to do it, kind of like teeter on the verge of a breakdown and then give myself the break. But again, that comes back to, I think, my issues with procrastination. So it's definitely a work in progress for me, taking healthy breaks. But for sure, once I'm in the break, I was gonna say I'm broke. No, I'm not. When I'm in the break, I'm invested.
Right.
I'm not feeling guilty for taking a vacation. I'm not. Anyway, so what about you?
I have trouble with this chakra. So I have an extremely overactive sacral chakra all the time. So I really have trouble stopping and giving myself breaks. I've had to make it a huge part of like mindfulness daily practice. I am not good at this. I get into states where like even my downtime, I'm like listening to a podcast or I'm listening to a course I'm trying to do, or like I'm reading a book that's a part of a book club, or like, so even the things I do for fun are often very regimented with a reason to be doing it, which causes burnout. So then I'll be like high performing, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, those 4 days just happened. Yeah. So I'm always trying to regulate this a little bit more. I'm conscious of it, and I've come a long way. But even if you look at my patterns as a working professional, I will work hard for like 10 months, and then I'm like, well, I'm out of here. I'm on vacation for like 2 months because I have to phone this in. Yeah. Right. But it also has been very productive for me to sort of manage it that way because I understand my systems. So I'm working on balance more than being like totally in one way or the other. Yeah. Okay, next question.
Okay.
So deservedness. Okay, so our question here is, do you have doubts or reservations about your deservedness based on the way you have experienced life in the past?
Yes. I would say, that's a big one for me.
I feel like it's kind of a reoccurring theme right now that's come up a few times in our questions and problems in the chakras.
Yeah. There are my reoccurring themes within my life that are, if there's ever anything blocking or not allowing a flow to happen, them the themes. It's coming back. I would say, when I was younger, I'd experienced being sexually assaulted. And when something like that happens, it's really hard to, well, it was not hard in a general sense. Everybody's experience is different in their healing process. But for me, it was really hard to think about my worth, my value, the things that I was allowed to have, the things that I was deserving of having. And then as I moved into other relationships, that theme dictated the way that I corresponded with, you know, whatever stimulus it was, whether it be a romantic relationship, family, friends, just the way that I was moving through life in general, what kind of jobs I would apply for, everything. It all kind of changed, and it was dictated by what had happened to me in the past. So I have done a lot of work on this. I no longer feel that I have that. It does come up still sometimes, but I'm in a place now where I feel like I can absolutely check myself with that. And I'm also in a place now where I'm talking about it, I've disclosed these things. For 4 years, I didn't disclose this at all. So it was also something that was like very, very deep within myself. For 4 years, I didn't even speak of it. So now that I'm in a position where I have disclosed these things and I am talking about them, when they do come up, like let's say in romantic relationships, especially, I'm able to kind of just like nip it in the bud,
right,
and remember my value and my worth and things that I am able to receive and have. Okay, so what about you?
Again, I'm almost on the reckless overactive side of this. I believe that I deserve like anything. I think if you were watching some of our previous videos that we filmed and stuff like that, I went through a huge sort of growth spurt in my teenage life where I had to define who I was, and there was a lot of like solar plexus work that was involved in that, but it trickles down into this. I believe that I am deserving of everything that anyone is deserving of. I think the universe has a wide, expansive amount of energy and abundance, and why can't I have some of that? Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's almost to the side of overactivity though, where it could almost be reckless sometimes, mm-hmm. where it's almost like entitled, mm-hmm. and I sometimes have to check that a little bit. Yeah. But I do think it's important to have that sort of like open deservedness. Like, yeah, I absolutely deserve all that will come my way. Yeah. All right, our next question. Pleasure.
Ooh, pleasure. That's weird. I said that like that. Anyways.
Okay. Do you overlook the simple and easy way to do things in order to have a big effect on others?
So when I hear that question, I'm thinking like, am I going to choose myself and what would be easier for me and maybe more pleasurable, or get the job done and be able to go to do things that are more pleasurable? Or am I more concerned with the admiration that I'm going to get from other people? Honestly, depends on what the job is. I think for me, I always do what's easiest for me. That sounds bad, but no, I'm not. Again, like obviously in a different context of different situations, I might make a different kind of choice, but I think generally I am trying to do what's best for me. In a sense that I'm not going to kill myself trying to make everyone go, wow, look at you, Candace. Like, no, I'm going to do what I want to do, which makes sense to me, which is easier. It's going to bring ease to my life. I feel like me saying what's easier for me sounds bad, but what brings more ease to my life so that I'm still able to do all other things. I'm not going to take the longer road just so that other people can give me a pat on the back or something. That's not how I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you?
I'm the exact opposite. I operate on external validation, and this is something that I've been doing work on. I have been successful in so many different ways of my life to be like, I'm going to show you that I can do that. Oh. And that has literally been like modus operandi for almost every single version of my success. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it wasn't really about that person, what their opinion of was to me. Yeah. It was more like for me to be like, I did that and people looked up to it. So it's somewhere in between. It's still a little external validation. So as I've gotten older, looking for like that internal and like what it means to me has also been a process. This whole chakra for me is like a work in process for sure. I think it also has to do with like growing up, and like this has to do with like your preteen and teenage years, like a lot of that, and that as a gay man becomes a like war zone trying to like figure out identity, and especially sexual identity. I feel like as I've gotten older and found my place, like all of these sort of validation issues have sort of come to a head, and I've had to do work on them.
Yeah. I was going to say, did you feel like you maybe had to prove that to your...
For sure.
To yourself, whoever?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I had to prove that I could do it.
Yeah.
If they can do it, I can do it. External validation issues. Recognition! All right, next!
Okay.
All right, last question. This is based on abundance. Okay. Do you feel that you could manage with less and still feel you have abundance?
Absolutely.
Me too. 100%.
I don't really have an attachment to the things that I have. I mean, obviously there's some things, sure, but I've experienced being like, okay, I'm gonna go take a major risk, and I'm gonna quit my job, and I'm gonna sell everything I own, and I'm gonna take my baby and hop on a plane and go to the other side of the world and see you later. And then when it doesn't work out, come back and start again, and have literally some boxes with some stuff and our suitcases, and I'll do it again. I'd do it again. I would. I'd do it again. I don't need a lot to be happy. I know that. I have had a lot of money. I've been super successful and had a lot of things, and I've also literally have had nothing.
Yeah.
Besides what other people, like my family, obviously, are providing for me because I needed it. I've had to build from nothing, and am still building from having nothing, and basically, and I say nothing. I'm not saying, I know that I have my privileges. When I say nothing, it is not even comparable to what some other people are experiencing in their lives, and I'm not trying to take away from that. But just speaking to my own lived experiences and comparing it to what my baseline was and how it changed multiple times. I know that I go live off the land. When you want to go, let me know. Right. I go somewhere. I don't need shoes. I need one pair of shoes, one shirt.
Like right after college, same thing for me. I jumped on an airplane and went to Mexico, and I had 2 things of luggage, and one of them got stuck somewhere, and I never saw it again. So even the stuff I had, I didn't even have, and I only had $35 in my bank account at that time, and no credit card. So, and I was emigrating to Mexico. Didn't have a place to live yet. And I still, I've been in situations, again, like you said, where there's been, I had a safety net. So there's a different feeling, like you were saying, there's people who experience.
I have a family who back me up.
Exactly. Those things fell in a different way. There was a safety net. But to me, abundance isn't, to me, it's more about flow and feeling like you're moving in the right direction, and you sort of have this synchronicity with the universe that feels like I'm in the right place and things are going to work out. To me, that is abundance. That is abundant state of living, and that is more important to me than the abundant prosperity that we have in our mind, where we think abundance is always lucrative and stuff like that. That to me, I don't really have the same attachment. I mean, of course, I respect the Institute of Money, and I think that being in flow state with money can obviously afford the people you love to have a really nice experience in life. And I think that is a beautiful thing that I am motivated by. But is it the most important? Absolutely not. I can have a lot less. Even the apartment that I have chosen to live in, while both my husband and I have high performing careers, is tiny. We don't need a huge space. We don't need a lot of space. So I think I can operate happily with less.
Agreed.
All right, so now why don't we talk about different methods that we can use to help clear and open and balance your sacral chakra.
Okay. So for starters, a healthy diet and exercise, super important, especially if you have any pre-existing conditions.
So method number 2 is utilizing the color blue to calm an overactive sacral chakra. Having that nice, calm, tranquil blue color in your environment as much as you can actually, it's proven scientifically to change how you feel.
Yeah. And blue is the opposite on the color wheel of orange.
Yeah.
The third one, lifestyle changes. So guidance, getting professional help. Talk therapy is amazing. I definitely promoter of talk therapy, be it one-on-one, group. Sometimes group can be hard depending on what you're talking about. It can be re-traumatizing. So maybe do a little bit of research first, but definitely one-to-one talk therapy is amazing. And again, while you're working through all these different changes, especially if you're talking about addiction and stuff, you definitely need some professional guidance with that to make the lifestyle changes happen.
All right, so our next method is get in touch with your sexuality. Get embodied, whatever that means to you. Find your pleasure centers inside of you and really awaken that sacral chakra.
The next one is creativity. Art therapy is amazing. Just play, just play. You don't have to be a painter. Get some paint. Paint something. Sing, dance, move, whatever it is. Just get creative. Or you're a writer. Write some things down. Whatever creativity looks like for you. Scrapbook. Print out some pictures and make a photo album. Bring it back. Bring it back
right?
to the old school way of doing things. Any kind of creativity that kind of sparks that inside of you is really good.
Our next method is going to be to connect to water. Spend some time outside if you can. Try and get close to a lake, maybe even if it's in a pool or the ocean or whatever you can. Even have a nice, healthy relationship with your shower. So, yeah. right? Spend some time with that water energy. It's very healing for your sacral.
And then, of course, there's affirmations, which are always really great to use. I know we kind of mentioned this in our previous video for root and some of the other ones. Anyways, affirmations are always good. They're great for every single chakra and all aspects of life. I know I've written some affirmations on my mirror just to remind myself in the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, just some words of affirmation to start thinking and believing those words if they are naturally part of my thought process.
Yeah. Affirmations can be as simple as I am connected to my sexuality, I am creative, I am the driving source of my creative energy. All of these things.
Yeah.
Good affirmations. I love them.
Another great one for this chakra is aromatherapy. So different oils, jasmine, orange blossom.
Okay, so then the next one is movement practice like yoga or dance. But instead of doing the root ones we were talking about with deep breaths or stuff like that, you want to work here on your sacral by opening your hips, okay? Really do a lot of stuff on your lumbar, your lower thoracic, and your hip areas to really open up and stimulate that area.
And also connecting, wearing, being around the color orange. Maybe you're just using it via crystals like carnelian or tiger's eye are good ones to have around you. And you can also be eating things that are related, that are the color of the chakra that you're working with. So for this one, you're thinking about maybe sweet potatoes, carrots, mangoes, cantaloupe, anything that's orange.
And lastly, you can be working with the Bija mantras again. We'll be doing this on Friday for our next video. The Bija mantra is VAM. Okay, so VAM is your sacral chakra. Again, if you haven't joined us for any of those videos, we just take our malas, we work our way around every Friday, and we've seen a lot of people so far do it every single day. It only takes about 2 minutes, okay? But it's a really great way to get your chakras in flow state, especially VAM for your sacral chakra.
So another thing to keep in mind, just as we are wrapping up everything to do with the sacral chakra, there are some archetypes to keep in mind. So a positive archetype for this one would be the Emperor and the Empress. So this idea is of someone who is open and accepting and pursuing the pleasures in life. They're eating enough. They're getting enough rest. They're taking care of themselves and doing so without guilt. They have a high degree of pleasure and they're loving life and they're enjoying it. And like I said, there's no guilt behind it. There's no shame in it. And there's also no arrogance in it. And there's no sense of like being better. They are simply the emperor and empress of their own existence within themselves. So it's not about ruling over and being better than anyone else. They are just simply within themselves of that honor. And then on the other end of that, you have the martyr. So the martyr is someone who is almost not allowing those pleasures into their life, almost like as a self-punishment, almost as a need for seeking a validation that comes from like people feeling sorry for them or people like needing people to give them attention, almost like they need them to offer these pleasures in life and they're still going to turn it away because that kind of attention is what they're receiving. That's what they think they can get. So instead of getting rest and good foods and all the things that make you feel good, that make you feel like an empress or an emperor, instead you're just sitting in a throne of people feeling sorry for you. And that's all that you would ever get. And that's all that you feel that you deserve. So those are the two archetypes that might help you have a visual in being in flow with this chakra and not being in flow with this chakra.
Okay, so the planetary correspondent is going to be Jupiter. Gotta love some Jupiter energy here. And then for the zodiac, we have Cancer and Scorpio for your sacral chakra, which totally tracks.
It does. Scorpio.
And lastly, if you do any somatics and crystal bowl work, sound work, your note is going to be the letter D.
D.
Yeah, give us a D. Give me a D.
Give me a D. If anyone knows what we were just singing or what we referenced, bonus points.
Gets me right in the sacral.
It's nice.
It's nice.
It's a good one. She a good one. All that you are and all that you do is good enough. The essence of the sacral chakra controls our physical and emotional well-being. Ruled by the water element, this chakra is directly influencing our emotional experiences, while also keeping our physical body functioning, active, with a healthy immune system. The sacral chakra reminds us to honor our body, to nourish ourselves with healthy, delicious foods, resting when we need it, exercising, but also taking the time to enjoy the sweetnesses and joys, big or small, of life. That said, there is a focus within the chakra that rules our pleasure principles, like food, but also sex. When the chakra becomes overactive, it pulls us away from the balance of our other life sources. If it's underactive, we hunger for the very things we deny ourselves. To find balance, we can turn inward and ask ourselves how deserving we feel we are in acquiring the things we want for our life. Give yourself permission to simplify situations you may be facing and allow pleasure to flow into your life because you know you deserve it.
I love this chakra.
It's a good one. It's an important one.
Yeah. All right, so make sure you join us this week. We have a sound bath coming your way, and we'll be doing our Bija mantra coming this Friday. Please comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let us know how your relationship with your sacral chakra is working. Is it working out for you? Where are you? Are you overactive? Are you underactive? Did you know that your sacral chakra is the #1 most common overactive chakra in people, or underactive? It's the one that is most commonly out of balance. Yeah, so I think we all have a little bit of work to do there. Yeah.
Makes sense in a swipe culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
Namaste.
Bye.
Bye.